A very good morning to everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Murali, should I start or should I wait for other students to?
Just 2 minutes, sir. I just
Okay.
asking that. We can start. Yeah.
Maybe while waiting for your other peers to come in, I will not be able to see the chat function because later when I do a full screen, I won't be able to see the chat box. So if you need to interrupt me for whatever technical reasons, if you want me to slow down,
I will raise my hand.
just verbally speak into the mic. Yeah, and then you can tell me.
Okay. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I mean this for anyone as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
All the students, sir is telling that if you have any doubts in between, raise your hands or you may interrupt, sir. At
Yeah,
any
feel free
time.
to interrupt. That's right, exactly.
Yeah, feel free to interrupt, or if you have any kind of doubts during his lecture, you can ask directly. You are very free to do everything. Open up yourself. Sir, you may start, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, thank you, Professor Murali, for inviting me to the induction program at Assam University. And it is a real honor to be here today to share my experiences with you. So like I've said, if you want to interrupt me for whatever reason, just feel free to verbally speak into the mic because I won't be able to see everybody's faces on the screen. So, you know, at least the audio can interrupt my conversation and then I can address your question. I also want to acknowledge that my work here that I'm going to share today is quite biased towards theatre and drama, but hopefully people from the dance and music should also be able to find some relevance to what I'm sharing. Okay, so before I begin my lecture, I would like to invite you to engage in an activity with me. So we're going to do a little exercise. I'm going to break you out into breakout rooms. So let me see how many there are here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think. Murali, are you going to be part of it?
I can, sir.
Okay, I think that including you, there will be 9 of you. So maybe I'll...
You can make 3 as.
No, I prefer to do in pairs. Okay, so let me explain what we're going to do. So in our pairs, I would like you to have a timer with you, maybe on your mobile phone or on your watch, because you will each speak for 60 seconds. All right, just 1 minute. Your partner will time you. So for example, I'm A and your partner is B. All right, and so when 60 seconds is over, B will gently say, thank you, your time is up, even if I'm continuing to speak. All right, just to stop the exercise. And then after 1 minute, we will swap over and B will have 60 seconds to speak and A will start timing. All right. So in other words, you have about 1 minute each. In total, you have 2 minutes for the breakout activity. And after 2 minutes, we'll come back to this main room and we will continue with our lecture. So what are we going to talk about in this 60 seconds? All right. Introduce your name. That's number 1. Number 2, tell us or tell your partner where you're from. That should take about maybe 3 seconds. And then the next 57 seconds, you will tell your partner and share with your partner something that makes you stop, that makes you say, wow. Okay, it's like, wow. All right, so it could be a piece of art. It can be a piece of music or a film that you just watched, or maybe something you had bought, a merchandise, or something in nature. You know, can be anything that you can think about that makes you really stop to admire it. You know, it's like, oh, you're in awe of it. And sometimes you will say, oh, don't disturb me. Let me enjoy this moment because it's so special. You know, or sometimes you will say to your friend, you know, did you see that? Or did you hear that? It took my breath away because it's just so beautiful. All right, I want you to describe in as much detail as possible what that thing is or what that object or experience is in 60 seconds. And if you're stuck with the words, you can start saying things like, I love looking at, or I love listening to. And then you can give your reasons. All right, any questions so far?
I hope all students you understood. If anybody has any doubt, let me know.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a few seconds to think of your story while I randomly group you into breakout rooms. And for whatever reason, you leave the chat, maybe of a technical, you accidentally click the wrong button, just come back to the share, to the Zoom link for the rest of my lecture. All right, I will see you in 2 minutes time. And
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, are we supposed to like introduce ourselves to you and then talk about the thing that we like the most, like
you introduce to another partner?
Just can't resist looking at, right?
You're
Another partner.
Yeah, so I will break you up into rooms, and in the room you have one more person with you. I'm not going to be in the room with you. All right, so it's a paired activity. So consider one of you to be A and the other person to be B, and then A will start sharing for 60 seconds what my name is, where I'm from, and then what is that thing or that experience. And then when 60 seconds is up, we'll switch over, and then B will say the same thing. And 2 minutes later, you will automatically be brought back into this room. All right, any questions?
Sir, just
doubt.
Dev Smita, wait.
Okay.
ओके, मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूँ ताकि तुम लोगों को समझ में आए। सर आपको ग्रुप बनाएंगे, ए और बी होंगे ग्रुप में। ए को टाइमर ऑन करना है, बी जब बी बोलेंगे, या तो बी जब टाइमर ऑन करेंगे ये बोलेंगे 60 सेकंड आपको बात करनी है। पहले 1 सेकंड 2 सेकंड में आपका नाम बताना है, दो नेक्स्ट उसके बाद आप कहाँ से हैं वो बताना है। उसके बाद आप जो बोलेंगे, कोई भी स्टोरी हो या आई लव यू, आई लव दिस, आई लव मुझे ये अच्छा लगता है, मुझे ये अच्छा नहीं लगता है, जो आपके सामने जो पार्टनर होगा उसको ऐसा लगना चाहिए कि वाओ, मतलब आपको कभी ऐसा सुना नहीं, या तो कुछ ऐसा होना चाहिए ताकि तुम्हारा सामने जो पार्टनर है उसको ये समझ में आना चाहिए कि वाओ इट इज वेरी नाइस फ्रॉम दैट गाय, ऐसा होना चाहिए आपको, राइट? अभी देवस्मिता, यू हैव एनी डाउट?
Are we supposed to like talk about one wow thing, or we can talk about multiple wow things?
Multiple
Up
things.
up to you, because you have 60 seconds, right? So if you finish one, you can talk about the next one. But I would like you to go deeper with one thing first. Try to explain to your partner what exactly is so wow about that thing.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yes. So let me try to find you. Any other questions before I break you out?
Any other questions, students? आप लोगों को समझ में आया? कोई और कुछ डाउट है? Respond, yes or no?
Okay, I'll break you into
no, sir.
2, 3, 6 rooms. Okay. All right. I'll see you. Oh, there are more people now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'll just break you into 6 rooms randomly and then come back later. All right, enjoy your process. See you later. 2, 5. Okay. Are you there in your rooms?
She didn't reply me. Can I go back to the room?
Oh, we'll get everybody back and then we'll see whether we need
Wait.
to do it
Let
again.
let's yeah. I just let them free. Okay, because she didn't reply to any. But
Okay, I'll try.
one more minute we wait. Yeah, and then
Hello, sir.
Hi, did you manage to do it?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Because
Like we couldn't complete.
Okay, shall I try it one more time?
Yes, sir. Please
I
allot us some. Yeah, please allot us some more amount of time,
Okay, I'm
like
not
5
sure.
minutes maybe.
No, 5 minutes would be too long. But did you all manage to get a bit of a story, both pairs? I mean, both people, even a little bit?
no, sir.
Not at
No,
all?
sir.
Okay, I'll
Like
Because
we
my
were discussing
partner
who to
was
start, and
go ahead,
I think
Devishmita.
my partner actually.
Okay,
I don't think she was like, her video was off, her audio was off, so there was nobody to interact to.
okay, we'll try again. Again, I'm not sure if we're going to find the same partner. So if you have already spoken in the previous time, just ask your other partner whether he or she has spoken before in the first time. If he or she hasn't tried it, so let that person do the talking. If you have more time, then we'll try it again. Okay. So so this time is really for the person who hasn't had the chance to speak, to at least have 45 seconds to play with. All right, to share your story. I'm going to break out rooms again. All right, I'll see you back in 2 to 3 more. Let me just. Okay, I'll give you a bit more time now. Okay, see you later. Hi, Tamalika. Are you in a room? Hi.
So I think my partner like is not, active.
There.
Her
Okay.
video and audio is not started yet.
Etel
There's
823,
nobody
is
to
it?
interact. Yeah, Kakali Roy, I think her name.
Kakali, I don't know whether there's an internet connection. How about the other person in this room? Is it Etel 823? What's your name? Can you
My
speak
name is
up?
Devishmita, sir.
No, the other
Devishmita.
one. Do you see another person in this room?
Yes, sir.
Is she speaking? Are you asking?
She's not speaking. Oh, yes. Okay. I got another connection. ITEL 823.
Yeah, Itel 823. Can you speak up?
Yes, sir.
No,
Okay.
she's not speaking up.
She can speak up, I guess.
Maybe she turned off her. She's not listening.
Hello.
I'll put you in a different room. Hold on. I'll leave this room and I'll put you in a different room. Tathagata, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Do you manage to share your story, or were there?
No, sir. No, sir. I have some problem, network problem.
Okay, no problem, no problem. But can you turn on your video so I can see you? Or it's going to be difficult as well. Okay. You can share with me while we wait for the others. Tell me a story. I can't hear you. You need to unmute.
Hello.
Yeah.
I am Tathagata Das. I am from Silchar. I read in Assam University, Department of Performing Arts. Honors paper is my dance, Manipuri dance, and I I am comfort with English,
Okay.
Hindi language.
Okay. No problem.
I have some problem.
Okay.
Or
Okay, the others are coming back in, so maybe we'll wait for the others. Did you manage to share, some of you, those who didn't have a chance to?
No.
Sir, me and Devishmita was in a room. I just completed, and the moment she started, the room ended.
Oh, dear. Okay, in that case, let's hear Devishmita. Why don't you tell us your story so we all hear from you?
Okay. Okay, sir. I am Devishmita and I'm from Dhemaji, Assam. And the one thing that really, makes me amazed every time is dogs, because they are so innocent and they just love you for whoever you are, and they don't judge you like other people, and they just love you unconditionally. And there is, whenever I come home for my dogs, they always have this twinkle in their eyes that they love you so much. They woo you, and they just, they just live for you. They don't have anything, negativity in them. So that is what I really like about dogs. And they are best, they're the best friends of human being, as people have always said. And that thing still date, I have been like, grown up with dogs. So many dogs I have adopted and I have, seen. But till date it amazes me to see how pure their souls are, how pure a dog can be. So that's
Okay,
it.
thank you very
Thanks.
much. Anyone would like to volunteer to share your story? Something that you shared just now with the group? Ipshita, do you manage to share with your partner?
Sir, second time there was nobody with me, sir.
Okay, so now you share with us, all of us.
Sir, I'm Ipshita Burman from Coach Bihar, West Bengal, India. I like to play with children and love to sing. Or what I say.
So children make you wow? Like, wow. Can you explain?
No, sir. That's
Is it
it.
because of English, the issue of English?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, may I interrupt? Yeah, though अगर आप students, if you want to talk in Hindi, अगर आपको हिंदी में बोलना है, आप बोल सकते हो. I can translate too, sir.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay?
great.
Yeah, you may comfortable, but not Bengali because I don't understand. So better you speak in Hindi or English. Yeah, Ipshita, you may start in Hindi. अगर आप चाहते हैं तो.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
हाँ, आप हिंदी में बोलो.
फर्स्ट से बोलो सर, पहले से बोलो. पहले जो कहा था.
Yeah.
हाँ. सर, मैं इप्शिता बर्मन हूँ फ्रॉम कोच बिहार, वेस्ट बंगाल. सर, मुझे बच्चों के साथ खेलना बहुत पसंद है सर. घूमना बहुत पसंद है फ्रेंड्स के साथ. और क्या करूँ सर? So that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. How about anyone
Thank you,
else?
sir. Thank you.
Swagatam, would you like to share?
I may, sir, if you ask me to.
Yeah, would you like to?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so my name is Swagatam Roy and I'm from Silchar. I'm studying in Department of Performing Arts in Assam University with theatre honors. The thing which I shared with Devishmita in the room, I'll be sharing the same thing with everybody here. I mean, like I fall in love every time I read the poems I have myself written. Not because they are great, but because I can relate to the feelings I instill into my poems. You know, the enjoyment that you get when you read a poem, any poem, is because you is when you can relate with the feelings instilled in the poem. And because I can understand my feelings better than anybody else's feelings, therefore, whenever I read my poems, I can relate to them in the best possible way. And therefore, I understand what I have written and I can relate to them with the highest intensity. And therefore, I can enjoy reading my poems. So before joining this meeting, I was writing poems because I have a program on 17th Jan where I'm supposed to recite. So when I was going through all of them, I was just loving the experience to go through all of them, because you literally feel a flow of emotions inside you. You literally live the emotions, even if you do not live them in your real life. We do the same thing in theater as well. We live a character even if we do not live that in real life. So I love living other people's emotions or characters whenever it is possible to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I just check who is in theatre or drama? Can you please raise your hand? Okay, and who's in music? Music? No one is in music. Anyone is in dance? Okay, okay. Supriya, what are you in?
Music, sir.
Oh, okay, you're in music. All right. Okay, so thank you very much for your sharing. So I'm going to continue right now. I just realized, so my English may be a little difficult. So if you need me to explain any words, if you want me to slow down, you know, just by all means interact and interject, okay, interrupt me. All right, I'm going to share my screen and I'll go specifically into my lecture right now. So here you see, this picture is from an aeroplane. You know, it really made me go, wow. And this was in 2013 when, I can't remember where I was flying to, but I saw this by my window seat, and I immediately took out my mobile phone to capture it. You know, it's like just so beautiful. And I realized that clouds make me go, wow, you know, it really amazes me. And I started observing clouds. This was in Manchester in the UK, a view from my apartment. And then this is the same view on a different day, right? So clouds somehow make me feel like, wow, there's something bigger out there. And I'm always amazed by it. So there's another story. One day I was rushing out of my home to my university and I noticed something on the ground. You know, it's a gravel ground. And I retraced my steps and I bent over and started admiring this translucent snail glowing in the sun. All right. I've never seen snails like that. This is especially not the ones I find in Singapore, you know, and in that few seconds, I found beauty. I found something quite astonishing and admirable. And I tried to reflect what it meant for me. You see, I was living in the UK, pursuing my PhD, and I'm away from home for many years. And I think some of you will also be away from home. And then I started writing this. I said, I was rushing off to the university when I chanced upon this delightful creature, slowly inching forward one step at a time. Retraced my steps to take a picture, then smiled at God's wonders, and I hurried along. An irony, perhaps, but this momentary awareness of divinity is the awareness that all is well, no matter how hard life becomes. Namaste. So that was my reflection, right? to be in a state of wow. But how did I get into that state of reflection or that state of wow? What did I do? I reflected on that process and realized that there were a few steps. Basically, I stayed silent for a few seconds, sometimes for a few minutes or more than that. And I immersed myself with that encounter and breathed in the image, and then I soaked in the experience. Yeah. And I started documenting my experiences in a journal called Facebook, which allowed me to slow down my thoughts and reflect on these temporary moments of tranquility. And then I started taking more photographs of snails. And what happens is I started finding meaning from these images and added words and quotes, you know, from literature or from famous poets, trying to express my thoughts. And this is from Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Wisely and slow, they stumble that run fast. And then another snail. The spiral in a snail's shell is the same mathematically as the spiral in the Milky Way galaxy. And it's also the same mathematically as the spirals in our DNA. It's the same ratio that you'll find in very basic music that transcends cultures all over the world. Back in Singapore, I found a snail on a leaf and I started to reminisce, started to recall the encounter with that translucent snail, the one that really stopped me in my tracks. But I realized it's not the same, you know, that moment is gone. But even though that moment is gone, I began to have a deeper transformation inside. Maybe that moment where I recognized nature for its fleeting beauty. And today my topic is wonderment of the aesthetic experience, and allow me to share more wow moments with you as an artist. In 2004, I was teaching in a prison in Singapore as a full-time English teacher. And at that time, my principal told me to start a drama club because of my undergraduate training in theatre. I did, but after a year, I had run out of ideas and didn't know what to teach. So I invited volunteers to run workshops with my drama club inmates. And in one of these workshops, the artist told the inmates to use clay to make pots. And as you can see here, one of them fashioned it very delicately with the word honey written outside. And there was a lid on this jug. And if you're familiar with Winnie the Pooh, this cartoon, it looked like this honey pot. And I noticed a chain going around it. And I curiously asked this inmate, you know, where's the key to the lock? He said, oh, it's inside. Then I said, okay, so how are you going to get the key? He says, break the pot. And in my naive questioning, I realized that breaking the pot to get the key means spilling and wasting the honey. And it was a moment of inner conflict within me. You know, does that mean if I probed and asked more questions, maybe the inmate will be telling me his life, his pain, and all the feelings that, you know, I would not know how to deal with. Besides, I was not a trained counselor and I was not even the trained drama educator at that time. So that was a wow moment that was very uncomfortable. That's when I realized I was inadequate in handling my job as a teacher, and I furthered my studies in drama education and drama therapy. So while I was doing my master's in New York, I attended a performance by Dzieci Theatre called Fool's Mass. It was a group of fools. In today's context, maybe they are seen like handicapped people, the homeless, the marginalized people in society, you know, people who are rejected. And the play was set in a cathedral, and they were celebrating the Catholic Mass, the service. The play starts with one of the fools running around the church and to say that the priest had died. They didn't know what to do, so they took turns to do what altar boys do and what priests do, exactly like an actual church service. I was in the audience singing songs together with them, but it was really hilarious because they didn't know what to do and they didn't know how to do the certain rituals correctly. And because I'm a Catholic, I understood what was right and what was wrong. So it was quite funny. You know, they were fighting amongst themselves in that comedic encounter. Something happened, something very sublime happened in me. I didn't remain as an audience member. You know, I actually engaged with the process, and I think I transformed into a church worshiper. And this is strange because I'm watching a show, but I feel like I am really attending a Catholic service. And when they were coming together, singing and harmonizing a hymn to God, I felt like there was an emotional, spiritual connection to the divine. I couldn't explain it. It was another wow moment for me. And it was so deep, I wanted to join them as an actor. And I did. After the show, I approached the director and told him I wanted to be part of his theater company. And then in the following year, I was part of the ensemble as a Chinese fool. So there I am with this funny tooth sticking out of my face, my mouth. And that's me now participating in the next year's Fool's Mass. And that's me again on the right-hand side. So I have shared two moments of wonderment. One in prison, where I was in a state of discomfort, which led me to pursue higher education. And the other moment of wonderment was when I was watching a performance which got me in a state of spirituality, which led me to join a community of actors trained in Grotowski's para-theater. Now, I started to wonder what really happened. Why was I wowing? You know, how did that happen? And, you know, why did it happen? So here's my definition of wonderment. Wonderment is a state of disequilibrium, you know, not on equal level or not balance, that stops you in your tracks and provokes an emotional response, sometimes in awe and puzzlement, like wow, and other times in shock and horror, in fear and horror. This human or non-human act, object or experience is usually accompanied by an element of curiosity to answer questions of causality, probability, or reason. How, when, and why did it happen? In 2017, I devised and directed Project Roop Kaur in Singapore. And this is a piece of theater with 15 women that told the stories of the 1947 partition of India and Pakistan. I wanted to work with non-actors. You know, as part of my applied theater practice, I wanted my actors to collect real stories of women who had gone through the partition and retell those stories. And of all the actors in my ensemble, Ambreen was the only Pakistani woman. And this was her experience researching on these real life stories.
My name is Ambreen, and I'm from Pakistan. I've grown up hearing first-hand accounts of partition from my grandparents. That's why it's a subject very important to me personally. Secondly, for me, Project Roop Kaur highlights the importance of oral accounts of women's ordeals during partition. And when I started researching on the subject, and I was specifically looking for a Muslim woman's story who was abducted, recovered, and abandoned by the family during the process, sheer silence of recorded history on the subject, which is well acknowledged by historians and researchers on the subject, made me even more aware of this gap and got me more interested in becoming a part of this really heartfelt endeavor. Especially this year, when both India and Pakistan are celebrating their 70th year of independence, it's extremely important for us to acknowledge and pay our tribute to this generation of lost and mistreated women.
So as a Singaporean man of Chinese descent, I had no idea what the partition meant. You know, I'm Singapore and there you are in India. And then we have Indians also living in Singapore, but they are not really, you know, they were not, some of them were not born in India. And so for me, cognitively, I knew it was, the line drawn by the Britishers to separate the Muslims and the Hindus in what we now know as Pakistan and India, respectively. And again, cognitively, there were horrors during the transfer. I knew there were horrors during the transfer, right? They killed each other, they raped the women, they changed and converted their religions. But it didn't really affect me emotionally until one day I gathered my actors together to demonstrate and show me the horrors. And remember that these women were not trained actors. Most of them were bankers living in Singapore who just wanted to act in their free time. And this is a video from the very first workshop in one of our actors' house. So you'll see in this video a scene where a mother is leaving their home with 2 children. Along the way, the mother sees the opposite camp approaching and she makes an impossible decision to drown her daughter in a well so as to prevent her daughter from being raped. I'm going to share the video now. As you can see, there were no words, and the image is so strong that even today, I'm still choked up and cannot imagine this scene happening in 1947. And I was in a state of shock. And scene after scene, they improvised and acted out the horrors. I soaked it all in without judgment. I didn't do anything else but let the images and cries flow through me and affect me. I let them affect me emotionally and I allowed myself to feel the pain and let those feelings sit inside. You know, I didn't know how to make sense of it. And even as a director, I thought this was so powerful that I didn't need words to describe it. And I knew that even as I was sitting with those feelings, I had to respond to it in a deeper way. So I experimented with different objects and invited my ensemble one day to wear masks and to quietly listen and to embody and imagine the scars of the women whose stories were silenced during the partition. Yeah, one step forward. One step forward. One step forward. A bit forward. All right, take your time to walk towards the mirror silently. Listen to your breath and to each other's breath. And then slowly walk towards the mirror. But you need to make sure everyone is following you at the same time. Remember, like a mirror exercise. I don't know who's the leader. Everyone goes at the same pace, same breath, same tempo. stand and look at the image of this woman looking back at you. She's not you. There is a story behind the mask. Its character. There are scars on the face. Things left behind that are unsaid. Marks that tell a story. So after collecting all those stories, we performed in an outdoor space that had a colonial house built in 1949. We transformed the urban space into a rural village. We burned roti to simulate the smells of cooking before the show. We hung laundry out to dry, and we were next to a forested area and had sounds of birds, monkeys, and crickets to add to the natural ambiance of the village space. You know, I wanted my audience to enter this space thinking that they are really entering an Indian village. Remember, I'm coming from urban Singapore, so we are very different from where you are coming from. And we don't really have that kind of rural setting. So I wanted them to enter this space with all the senses awakened. And to some extent, it was like me entering that cathedral, watching the Fool's Mass when I was in New York. And this time I wanted my audience to experience India in 1949, 2 years after the partition. We had all 15 of the women introduce themselves and tell their stories. One after the other, the audience hears stories of family betrayals, religious conversions, abduction, and honor killing. I will show the final scene of my production later. Here I took the liberty and the creative license to have a ghost looking for her sister, and the ghost wanted an explanation why her sister left her behind to die. But obviously the sister could not see her. And in the final scene, we mapped out on the floor the cities before the partition, you know, with the names on the floor, where they came from. And then in the final scene, the women crossed over to their final destination. And they turned to the audience, and together, collectively, they say, "I am Roop Kaur," symbolizing the erasure of their own identities and their own histories, you know, blurring into a collective and non-existent identity called Roop Kaur. Here's the video. There's still quite a lot to this video, so I'm just going to continue with that. And now, how is this relevant to you as you are beginning your journey as an artist? As you enroll into classes, attend lectures, go for rehearsals and workshops, I would like you to remember your encounters. Whatever that you're experiencing, remember them deeply. Because art, like life, is understood through experience, not explanations. And here's my framework to help you think about your process of wonderment as an artist. Number one, soak in everything without judgment. Receive the information, the image, the sounds. Soak in the moment of awe, or even of horror or shock. And then you breathe it all in. John Dewey, a progressive thinker in arts education, says the aesthetic or undergoing phase of experience is receptive. It involves surrender. Perception is an act of the going out of energy in order to receive, not a withholding of energy. To steep ourselves in a subject matter, we have first to plunge into it. So as a student living away from home, take in as many different experiences and widen your perspective. Be receptive and surrender to all the new experiences. 2, contemplate and sit with those feelings, even the uncomfortable ones. You will get frustrated with yourself. You might get bored with your lecturers. You might be annoyed with your peers. And that impatience of trying to get it right will sometimes eat at you and make you lose your sense of stability and presence. And again, sit with those feelings of disequilibrium, right? Sean McNiff, an art therapist, says, we let go of thoughts in order to truly witness. The process is a continuous motion of coming together and letting go, guided by the spirit of mutual sensitivity. Confusion enters when we lose contact with the image, with one another, with breath, and when we are taken over by spirits of panic and distrust. So when you are there, acknowledge your feelings and simply be a witness without judgment. If I'm feeling really tired, I'm feeling exhausted, I'm feeling overwhelmed, record it down and explain to yourself how you're feeling. And then take it as a form of meditation and breathe it in. And then after a long period of gestation, it's like cooking. You want to let the food simmer, but it never comes to a boil. Then when you start responding through artistic medium, immerse yourself again in that process with that material. Whatever your material might mean, it can be your drums, it can be your music, it can be your voice, it can be the other actor, it can be the script, it can be the clay that you're working on with the colors that you're playing with. So, break the silence and then create using artistic forms. Elliot Eisner says, in the context of art, language must at times be used in ways that express the ineffable. Ineffable meaning things that cannot be expressed, like the sublime, right? Things that are out there, like the wow. For example, when qualities that have particular expressive characteristics must find a poetic or metaphorical equivalent, language is used artistically. So for some of you, your language, the metaphorical language, your poetic language is your artistic form. It can be in dance, theater, music, fine arts, etc. So use your artistic medium to express yourself, and then it can be your expression, basically. And finally, step out and experience the entire thing all over again, and awaken the senses and deepen your meanings. You know, so for example, when you are in an art gallery, right, you can only see the scale and beauty when you step back and see the huge painting on the wall. So it is important for you as an artist to sometimes step out of that thing and have a global view of what it is, rather than being stuck in the process all the time. So it's a constant negotiation of stepping out and experiencing all over again. And then what you need to do in order to awaken the senses, according to Anne Bogart, is to look at it from a different way, to give a new interpretation, a new life to your work. So she says, the function of art is to awaken what is asleep. How do you awaken what is asleep? According to Viktor Shklovsky, a Russian formalist, you turn it slightly until it awakens, until it shocks you, or until it gives you that sense of wonderment again. Okay? So as I conclude my lecture, I want to come back to the first image of the clouds I took while looking out the aeroplane. And I'm reminded by Tagore, who said, clouds come floating into my life, no longer to carry rain or usher storm, but to add color to my sunset sky. So I wish you beautiful moments of wonderment in your academic journey and your artistic practice, where you embrace and soak in those fleeting moments of sunrising and sunsetting. All right? Thank you very much. We can have a moment of questions if you would like to ask questions.
Students, you may ask your questions in Hindi or English. If it is Hindi, I can translate.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, students, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, Swagatam.
Yes, sir. Slightly out of context question, like the theater which you showed us in the cathedral church, maybe, was it a sort of an environmental theater? Like you people were performing among the audience in an actual church?
Yeah, that's right. It was in an actual church. So that's also the kind of idea I took with me when I did the Project Roop Kaur. So I wanted everything to be out of the commercial space in the theater.
और कोई student? Don't hesitate and don't stop yourself.
Sir, so like I just found that from the captions you used and like Namaste and from the reference of Rabindranath Tagore that you have a fair idea of what India is like. So what is the reason behind this?
That's interesting. I have, I think, okay, so Singapore is also very multiracial, very multi-ethnic. So we have Indians living in Singapore. We are all immigrants from China or India or Indonesia at one point in time. And so, you know, I embrace different ways of being, you know, language becomes interspersed with the different kinds of language to express how I feel. So sometimes I just feel like, you know, I'm also very drawn towards yoga practices and Hindu practices. So that's one of the reasons why I use some of your words or concepts, because that helps me articulate or express how I'm feeling. You know, yeah. So hopefully that answers your question.
That's indeed wow. It's wow. It's wow for us.
Yeah, the wonder moment.
Thank you.
Wondrous moment.
Students, any further doubts you have?
I think Devishmita wants to say something. You look like you want to know.
No, sir. Like whatever you have told me, told every one of us, I think we have learned a lot from you today, and really it was so nice to have you with us today. Like, thank you, sir. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for being there.
Okay, Edmund sir, thank you very much.
Thanks, Murali. Is that
Yeah,
it?
it's very pleasure to have you, and we hope our department will continue to have such sessions with you in future also. But yeah, my students have got a different kinds of experience in terms of the interaction has taken place from you. Has definitely given an opportunity to understand more about their personal thing initially. They might have thought, but that exercise what you have done, I hope they might, it has given an experience to them to think of themselves. Like normally we don't in India, I actually say that we don't think of ourselves. At least we are engaged with more things, with so many things, but we generally don't think of ourselves. But when you are asking us to do think about yourself and say about few hours, I understand from this exercise the students have stopped because they don't have anything to say about themselves. It may be so many other reasons, but because that we never think of ourselves. That's one thing I understood. Yeah, students, I hope this lecture will open had given a chance to you explore more yourself. As a performer, you should think yourself, and the more you connect yourself, the more you creative you can express yourself, and that gives you a very good knowledge. And Edmund sir has tried with that, and he has also he shared his own experiences, like how he feels to go to the university and what kind of experience while looking at the clouds. And he has been interacting by quoting our Indian terms, culture, as well as Edmund sir. Thank you very much. Looking forward to you, and I love you for this very good, wonderful lecture. Looking
Okay.
forward, you sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Have a good day.
thank
Bye.
you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.